Good evening and welcome to the regular meeting of the Frankfort Village Board. Tonight is Monday, November 6th, 2023. We call this meeting to order and we ask our clerk, Katie Schubert, to take the roll, please.
Thank you. Mayor Ogle?
Here.
Trustee Ledden?
Here.
Trustee Zavaria?
Here.
Trustee Rigoni?
Here.
Trustee Petro?
Here.
Trustee Borelli?
Here.
Trustee Rossi?
Here.
Attorney Lamore? Present. Attorney Mahoney?
Here.
Chief Jalepis?
Here.
Assistant Administrator Barica?
Present.
Village Administrator Pisha?
Here.
And Clerk Schubert is here. We have quorum.
Thank you, clerk. Now, if everyone would please stand with me and we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. It is my honor to swear in Mark Mizek to the office of Police Sergeant for the Village of Frankfort tonight. Mark graduated from Oak Forest High School and then obtained a bachelor's degree in law enforcement criminal justice from Western Illinois University. He also obtained his master's degree in public administration from Governor State University. He became a police officer with the Village of Frankfort in March of 1999. Throughout his career, Mark has performed specialty positions as an evidence technician, field training officer, and accident reconstructionist, while also serving as a senior patrol officer for over 20 years. During his free time, Mark is employed as an adjunct professor for Oakton College and Harper College, teaching a variety of law enforcement, criminal justice courses. He also values his time with his wife, Linda, and their two daughters. Mark, if you and your family want to join me at the podium, we'll take care of business. So Mark, we're very proud of you. Would you please raise your right hand? I state your name.
I, Mark Mizek,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of Sergeant for the Village of Frankfort
of Sergeant of the Village of Frankfort
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my abilities.
Perfect.
I just want to say thanks to my beautiful family, my mom, my wife, my daughters, all my friends and family that are here, everyone, my former chiefs, Rob and John, everyone here that helped me get here. Last time I was sworn in was 25 years ago, and it took a long time to get here. I'm going to do the best job that I can and just be a good example for the village. Thank you.
The next item on here in our business is what's called the unanimous consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda are routine in nature and will be enacted in one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a board member so requests, in which event that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. At this time, I ask if anyone would like to remove any items from the consent agenda.
Mayor, I would like to move item D1 from the consent agenda, Roma Sports Club.
Okay? With its 4 subunits on there.
Yes, looks
Okay.
like it was all one ordinance.
Oh, one ordinance. Okay, so we'll remove that item. Any other items? Okay. Hearing none, for the consent agenda, can I get a motion and a second?
Second.
Motion by trustee Petro, a second by trustee Savaria. We'll consider the item that's been removed after the vote on the consent agenda, but we also will go through each item that's on here so that those who are in the audience, that would be watching at home or at a future date on video, will be able to see what it is that your village board votes on and the material that's presented. These packets in their entirety are on the village website under the minute agenda. So the first item that was on there was the regular meeting minutes from October 16th, 2023. Next item is the approval of the bills, and we'll go to trustee Borelli for the report.
Thank you, Mayor. The bills this evening total $1,658,375.15. The big ticket item on the bills tonight is a payout to PT Faro in the amount of $1,100,678.40. As you may recall, we've approved about $7 million in the budget for road resurfacing, and they've done a fine job so far. And so this is just a payout on that contract. That's all I have, Mayor.
Okay, thank you, trustee. Now we have an item from the committee of the whole report, and we'll go to trustee Ledden to read that report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The item this evening is the 2024 meeting and holiday calendar approval. The Village of Frankfort is required to publish a schedule of regular meetings at the beginning of each calendar year and state the dates, times, and places of such meetings. If not published otherwise, the first and third Monday of each month commencing at 7 p.m. is designated as the regular time for meetings of Village Board, except on certain holidays, and the meeting is scheduled for Tuesday after that holiday. The second Wednesday of each month, commencing at 5:30 p.m., is designated as the regular time for the committee meeting night. The second and fourth Thursday of each month, commencing at 6:30 p.m., is designated as the regular time for the meeting of the Plan Commission Zoning Board of Appeals. And the third Wednesday of each month, commencing at 5:30 p.m., is designated as the regular time for the Historic Preservation Commission. All meetings are held at the Village Administration Building located at 432 West Nebraska Street. At its October 11th, 2023 meeting, the Committee of the Whole reviewed the proposed Village of Frankfort meeting and holiday calendar for the upcoming year. It was the consensus of the committee to forward a recommendation to the Village Board to schedule a single Village Board meeting in January, on January 16th, to shift the Plan Commission meeting dates in March from the second and fourth Thursday to the first and third Thursday, and to move the regular Village Board meeting dates in April from the first and third Monday to the second and fourth Monday. The motion before us this evening is to accept the recommendation of the Committee of the Whole and approve the 2024 Village of Frankfort meeting and holiday calendar as presented. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we'll go to trustee Rossi for the next item, which would be number 4.
Prestwick Country Club.
Prestwick.
Prestwick Country Club, 601 Prestwick Drive. Prestwick Country Club requests the granting of 4 zoning variations for the construction of a new 4,320 square foot golf cart barn to replace the existing barn. Due to the size, height, and placement of the barn, project requires the 4 following variations. Accessory structure size variance from 144 square feet to 4,320 square feet. Structure height from 15 feet to 21 feet. Variation to permit an accessory structure in the front yard. A variation to permit an accessory structure in front of the primary structure. At its October 26th, 2023 public hearing on the project, the Plan Commission forwarded 4 unanimous recommendations to the Village Board to grant the variation request subject to several conditions. The motion before us is to accept the recommendation of the Plan Commission, waive the first and second readings, and pass an ordinance granting the following zoning variations to the property located at 601 Prestwick Drive for the construction of a new golf cart barn, an accessory structure size variance from 144 square feet to 4,320 square feet. An accessory structure height variance from 15 to 21 feet. A variance to permit an accessory structure within a front yard, and a variance to permit an accessory structure in front of the primary structure, all in accordance with the reviewed plans, public testimony, and findings of fact conditioned on final engineering approval and subject to the following conditions. The existing stumps and wood pallets shall be cleared during construction of the proposed building. A landscape plan for the area around the golf cart barn shall be submitted for staff review and approval, and required planting shall be installed within 1 year of village board approval. The building elevation shall be revised to reflect a charcoal color stone veneer on all 4 sides. End of report.
Thank you, Trustee Rossi. And then for the final item on the consent agenda, we'll go to Trustee Petro.
Thank you, Mayor. The final item is the approval of executive session minutes and destruction of verbatim recordings resolution. The Village Board has conducted its semi-annual review of all written minutes of the closed session meetings pursuant to the Illinois Open Meetings Act, and recommend the minutes remain closed because of the need for confidentiality still exists. The Village Board has further determined that the audio-taped verbatim records of closed session meetings where more than 18 months have lapsed are eligible for destruction. So the motion before us is to adopt a resolution approving certain closed session meetings and authorizing the destruction of verbatim records of certain closed session meetings of the Village of Frankfort. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Petro. So those were all the items that were on the consent agenda tonight, and there's no further discussion on those items. So we will go to our clerk, Katie Schubert, for the vote.
Trustee Severia?
Yes.
Trustee Rigoni?
Yes.
Trustee Petro?
Yes.
Trustee Borelli?
Yes.
Trustee Rossi?
Yes.
Trustee Ledden?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, clerk. The one item that was on here, number D1, A through D, A through C, that was removed. We'll do that now. And can I get a motion and a second before we start the discussion on this?
So moved.
We have a motion by Trustee Savaria, second by Trustee Borelli. Okay. And this was a report that was from the Plan Commission and was assigned to Trustee Savaria. So, Gene?
Sure, Mr. Mayor.
Take care of that. Thank you.
The item before us is Roma Sports Court, 9115 Roma Court. The applicant, Steve Rotondi, proposes to construct a 20,800 square foot addition onto the existing Roma Sports Club building to provide more indoor recreation space. The applicant also proposes a parking lot expansion, adding 117 spaces and consolidating Lot 1 of Roma re-subdivision with Lot 16 through 18 of the East Point Park subdivision. To accommodate the proposed improvements, the applicant requests the granting of the following: special use permit for indoor recreation, special use permit for outdoor recreation over 1 acre, 3 points of vehicular access variance, landscape front yard setback variance from 20 feet to 15.2 feet, final plat approval. At the October 12, 2023 public hearing on the project, the Plan Commission forwarded 5 unanimous 7-0 recommendations to the Village Board to grant the request. The first motion before us is to accept the recommendation of the Plan Commission, waive the first and second readings, and pass an ordinance granting a special use permit for indoor recreation for a health fitness facility, for a special use permit for outdoor recreation over 1 acre for 2 outdoor soccer fields to accommodate the operation of Roma Sports Club on Lot 1 of the Roma 2 re-subdivision, 9115 Roma Court, in accordance with the reviewed plans, public testimony, and findings of facts and conditioned upon final engineering approval. Let me go through all 3.
Sure,
Okay.
we'll go through all 3. Thanks.
The second motion before us is to accept the recommendation of the Plan Commission, waive the first and second reading, and pass an ordinance granting a variance to permit 3 points of vehicular access to Roma Court for a lot with more than 200 feet of road frontage, and variance of landscape front yard setback requirement from 20 feet to 15 feet 2 inches to accommodate construction of a 20,800 square foot building addition and parking lot expansion for Roma Sports Court on Lot 1 of Roma 2 re-subdivision, 9115 Roma Court, in accordance with the reviewed plans, public testimony, and findings of fact, and conditioned upon final engineering approval. And then the last motion before us is to accept the Plan Commission recommendation and approve the final plat of Roma 2 re-subdivision, consolidating Lot 1 of Roma re-subdivision with Lots 16 through 18 of East Point Park subdivision to create a single Lot 1 of Roma 2 re-subdivision prepared by Associated Surveying Group LLC, dated 9/1/23, in accordance with the reviewed plans and subject to staff approval of any Necessary technical revision prior to recording.
Thank you. At this point, we'll open up the discussion from our trustees. The applicant is not here himself, couldn't be here, but Robin from the Civil Engineering Company is here and can answer any questions that we might have for us. So, are there any trustees that would like to open up the discussion?
Thank you, Mayor. First, I'd like to note that I am not taking exception to the indoor recreation, the building addition, the 3 points of access, the landscape variation. I did have the opportunity to look into that with the landscape variation. It would keep in line with the parking that's there. My exception is for the outdoor recreation on the north side. This has been before the Plan Commission both in 2018 and in 2019. I did cite concerns as on the Plan Commission at that time. More the use as it relates to an outdoor organization, outdoor recreation in an industrial area. At that time, there were many conversations that we did have about safety concerns, the impact. We've now even had additional buildings being built just to the west of there. Also, some of the conversations that we did have at that time related to the impact of the road and so forth, and just being out there today, noting that in, I think it was 2018 or 2019, we talked about limiting, how do you address access and so forth. There was conversations about blocking off the street with cones. We said that that's not appropriate, it's a private use. There's cones out in the cul-de-sac right now. I'm also concerned about whether the overall impact, I'm not quite sure if the porta potty was that which was related to the development use by Roma, that's on the on the east end of the cul-de-sac, as well as then there's garbage receptacles out there. So I think that there's a little bit more to the outdoor, particularly as it relates to just not only in the industrial, due to the safety of traversing the area with youth and so forth, but also make sure that we're understanding what exactly is currently out there now, what the intent of the end plan is, if indeed those cones are being used to facilitate some type of traffic or movement of pedestrians. Is that going to be addressed? Knowing that we did talk about this both in 2018 and 2019, expressing concerns. Also going out there that it is currently appears to be used right now for outdoor. There is goalpost out there. So the question is 2018, 2019 did not seek special use approval, but now it appears as if it's being utilized in that fashion at this time. So again, iterating, it's not the indoor. I think that the expansion is great. I know that there was the outdoor was related to the original, not the 3 points of access, not the landscape, not the final plat. It's that outdoor component and all that's going along with it to not only ensure public safety, but also the development of the rest of the industrial.
Thank you, trustee. Anyone else who would like to speak either for or in opposition? Trustee Burley?
Thanks for your comments, Trustee Rigoni. I definitely, hear some of your concerns, especially with the outdoor component. Yeah, it's a challenging one. I would say, obviously, like anyone that's had kids with sports there, it's a cluster already. So you're adding parking, that's a big win. Adding a second point of access, which will help with the drop-off, pickup drop-off, which is, I think, a safety concern to begin with right now in the existing condition. Yeah, in terms of the outdoor component, I'm not a huge fan of it. I also then, what else are we gonna put there now that's been approved? The Roma, right? So I'd almost rather have the outdoor rec than another industrial building go in there. I think that's not gonna be safe for this either. Traveling around the country with my daughter to, these crazy middle of nowhere places where there's a softball field behind an industrial park. It's pretty common. And one thing they typically have is usually the sports field is at the very end, so you're kind of past all the industrial stuff, and that's the case here again. I mean, I guess there's a chance that trucks would be pulling in and looping in the cul-de-sac, but Yeah, I hear your concerns. I'm still going to vote yes because I think it's still better than the alternative. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Borelli. Trustee Petro.
Thank you, Mayor. Trustee Rigoni, I appreciate your comments, and Trustee Borelli, too. One of the things I want to note from 2018, 2019, when it did come back for outdoor use, I think that discussion was centered around a baseball field, and there were some additional concerns because of that street and like balls actually going outside of the park or someone hitting a home run. But I believe the original use, when the building was built, had outdoor fields approved, and they weren't constructed at that time. And so the soccer fields were more in line with less safety concerns of balls actually going outside of that area. So that's the reason that I would support this soccer field use outdoor versus the baseball, softball field that was originally proposed a couple years ago. And I do think that with the building addition and the parking, anyone who's been over there with any sort of event knows that they're definitely in need for additional parking. So I think this is probably the best fit for the way that the land and the street runs right now. Thank you.
Okay. Trustee Rossi. Nothing.
No, I'm actually content with the outdoor. I think it's a better solution than, as said here, a new industrial area going there, industrial building going there. And I actually like the idea, the more we can get for our kids to do in town and get them over there, I think it's better.
Trustee Ledden, Trustee Saverio.
I actually was on the Plan Commission with Trustee Rigoni and Trustee Petro at this time. I agree. I think at that time, the main concern was around parking and public safety. I think the other thing they talked about was sidewalks, and I'm not sure if there's sidewalks in here, but overall, given that they're adding parking stuff, I'm okay with it.
Okay. Trustee Ledden.
Same. I'm comfortable with the configuration of the plan and the additional parking. And, I appreciate this being raised as a concern, but I think they've addressed many of that with the proposal.
Okay. All right, we have a motion and a second. Was there any questions that we'd like to have Robin answer, or are we? Time for new. Okay, we have a motion and a second. We'll go to our clerk, Katie Schubert, for the vote.
All right, Trustee Rigoni?
No.
Trustee Petro?
Yes.
Trustee Borelli?
Yes.
Trustee Rossi?
Yes.
Trustee Ledden?
Yes.
Trustee Saverio?
Yes.
Motion
Okay,
carries.
so the motion carries. All right, thank you. Next item on here is what's called the Mayor's Report. And Veterans Concert's coming up. The Hickory Creek Middle School Band and Orchestra will host its annual Veterans Day concert this Thursday, November 9th. The concert begins at 6 p.m., and it's at the school at 22150 116th Avenue, which is basically 116th and Laraway, and is free to the public. As has been the custom, the mayor will narrate the Veterans Day portion of the concert. It's really a tremendous event. Veterans are encouraged to attend. You would be just amazed at how talented our musical students are. In observance of the Veterans Day holiday on Friday, November 10th, the Village of Frankfort offices will be closed. Our Frankfort Police Department, and we had the honor of elevating one of our officers to Sergeant Mark Mizek, today at the beginning of this meeting. Our Frankfort Police Department is now hiring. Completed applications and all required documentation must be received no later than November 15th, 2023 at 4 p.m. Applications will be available at jobsource.copsandfiretesting.com. Orientation and written exam will take place on Saturday, December 2nd, 2023 at 9:30 a.m. at Hickory Creek Middle School, which is where the Veterans Concert is at, and it's 22150 116th Avenue in Frankfort. The leaf collection program is in process and will continue through Monday, November 27th. Residents are reminded to rake leaves onto the parkway just inside the edge of the curb. Please avoid raking or blowing leaves into the street or near storm drains, as this is a violation of village ordinances and also can cause flooding issues for yourself and your neighbors. One final branch collection is scheduled for Monday, November 27th. And you definitely want to save the date for the lighting of the green, which is going to be, our annual lighting of the green is Thursday, November 30th, and it's at 6:30 at Brighter Green in downtown. The event will feature the countdown of the tree lighting, musical performances by the Hickory Creek Middle School Choir, a visit from Santa and Mrs. Claus, and a special guest appearance from Buddy the Elf. Complimentary cookies and hot chocolate will be served. And those of you who've lived here in Frankfort or have been down there, and unless this is your first time here, lighting of the green is amazing. You have to see it. It's beautiful. We'll keep it lit for the whole season. And finally, congratulations not only to Officer Mizek on becoming sergeant, but I also want to extend my congratulations to Officer Bill Boersma for his service to our village, and wish him a long and happy retirement. And that is all for the mayor's report tonight, and we will go to our clerk, Katie Schubert, for board comments.
Thank you, Mayor Ogle. Just a couple of reminders, we'll be back here on Wednesday, the 8th, for our Committee of the Whole meeting, and our next board meeting will be Monday, November 20th at 7 o'clock.
Thank you. Trustee Ledden.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I too would like to wish Officer Boersma a happy retirement after 26 years of service to the village. Hope he enjoys his time off, and also would like to congratulate Officer Mizek on being elevated to the position of sergeant and his many years of service. And Trustee Borelli had mentioned in his report about the spend to PT Faro. I saw in the executive report that there were 45 street segments that were done this year, and it's the largest ever. So congratulations to everybody who played a part in that and getting that taken care of this year. Big commitment and undertaking. And then on a personal note, I would like to offer my condolences to my cousins who lost their mom. They moved out to Frankfort in like 1970, and back then we thought it was the other side of the world. And she passed away peacefully this morning, my Aunt Joan Parker, who happens to be my dad's twin. So after 92 years, my dad's going to be a little lonely too. So my condolences to them.
Thank you, Trustee Savaria.
Sorry for your loss. Congratulations to Sergeant Mizek. And then the other thing I wanted to bring up is just recognizing my fellow veterans on Veterans Day coming up. So my other fellow brothers in arms, you know, it's always good to recognize them on Veterans Day, and that's all I got.
Thank you, Trustee. Trustee Ragone.
Thank you, Mayor. First, I would like to thank all our veterans, especially those sitting up here on the dais with us this evening, for their service. I would also like to thank the police department for putting on a fantastic trunk or treat. It was well attended. The weather was fantastic. Knowing that Tuesday wasn't going to be that great, I think it attracted a lot. It's always a great event. I've been able to participate in for many years with my family, so kudos to them.
Thank you, Trustee. Trustee Petro.
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted to thank Officer Mizek for his many years of service and also congratulate him on his promotion to sergeant. I know he'll do a great job in that, and I wish that Bill has many years in retirement and boating ahead of him. I also wanted to thank Trustee Savaria for his service, my grandfather Norman Hasbach for his service, and all the veterans this holiday. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Burley.
Thank you, Mayor. Happy retirement to Officer Boersma. Congratulations to Sergeant Mizek. I had the privilege of serving with him in the Kiwanis Club a few years back, and haven't met a better guy. He's fantastic, and I'm very excited for him. I also wanted to, so I think I said in a previous meeting that my two favorite meetings are when we promote or swear in an officer or sergeant, or we congratulate a state champion. And so I'm happy to see that you brought in the 157C, the 8th graders for Hickory Creek softball team, and congratulated them last meeting. Unfortunately, I was out of the country, but I watched it and I loved it. And congratulations one more time to them. It was fantastic watching your girls. That's all I have, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Rossi.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to congratulate Sergeant Mizek again. He's well earned. He spent a lot of good years for our department. Congratulations, Officer Boersma, for his retirement. I think he was 26 years or something also. Great job, and we do all appreciate our police department.
Thank you, trustee Rossi. Is there any other business from the board tonight? Okay. Next item on here is what we call public comments. Just to clarify, public comments are not a public hearing. It's not a back and forth. It's citizens' opportunity to make comments to the village board. And at this point, anyone who would like to come forward?
Good evening. My name is TJ Marksali. I am the president of Blue Dandy Properties, the developer of the Candle Creek subdivision, which consists of single-family homes, 60 in total. I also own a small custom home building company with the last 3 homes that I built in Frankfort, valued at over $1 million, and I have 27 more lots to build these homes on. I control the architectural review committee of Candle Creek for over 20 years, and I'm also a resident of Frankfort. A little history is that 20 years ago, I had an option of annexing my property that I've owned for 30 years into either Tinley Park, Mokina, or Frankfort. After doing a lot of research, because I was on the adjacent property to Tinley Park and Mokina, I believed that Frankfort had the quality and standard of living that I wanted to build my homes. So I annexed into the Frankfort village. Building homes for 37 years, 20 of those years have been right here in Frankfort, and I've been through quite a few different staff members. And of course, in the past, issues come up, and we've had to deal with. And I will say that every single time, good or bad, it was handled professionally, and agreements were reached, and my concerns were always addressed. So much so that in 2019, a huge issue was resolved with me with one of 2 recaptures I have against Frankfort for the improvements that I did for Frankfort that I personally paid for. Unfortunately, in 2020, there have been several brand-new issues that have come up that have raised some serious concerns for me personally as a developer, as a builder, as the head of the ARC, and as well as a resident and neighbor. Coincidentally, it's the exact same time a new building department was put in place. The purpose of my attendance here tonight is to not only introduce myself to board members that don't know me, but to address my concerns in a public forum to residents and other builders and developers for Frankfort. I've done my best to identify and resolve these issues discreetly, as I was actually asked to do. But unfortunately, the only result of my various hour-long meetings with you, Mr. Mayor, administrators, board members, building department officials, I'm just continuously getting harassed to my family, my building company, my developing company, as well as the head of the ARC, and ultimately my homeowners in my subdivision, because it is my subdivision, are not being treated completely fairly. So tonight I'm not going to get into a lot of specifics, but I will start attending every single board meeting from now on, outlining these issues that I have, from inconsistent policies, changing policies specifically against me without the board approval, ignoring your own rules and ordinances, bypassing HOA and ARC requirements, structural and safety concerns that I pointed out, questionable engineering reports, and complete disregard for keeping the village from maintaining that high quality of standard that everybody wants and deserves. I invite anybody to contact me directly to discuss these issues, and hopefully putting some public pressure on the village will start turning things around for the better, as I want. I realize that I have to start some kind of blog or some kind of social media presence to actually start showing and proving what I'm saying. The abuse of power, the incompetence, the inconsistencies, and the issues that I see every single day. To be clear, all I've ever asked for this village is to treat me fairly, treat me with respect, and honor the agreements we have together and follow the rules that we've established. But this continued harassment, being lied to, ignored, singled out unfairly has got to stop. Just a few quick issues that drove me here tonight to talk. First, I hope that we're all aware in this room that the village and I are co-defendants in a $1 million lawsuit for the past 6 months by another developer. And the village has yet to reach out to me, show up to court hearings, at least the one that I go to, failed to provide any response to my attorney's Freedom of Information Act request, and either obviously ignoring, misleading, or blatantly lying about the whole issue. This is beyond comprehension and extremely shady. I'm spending my personal money to defend this lawsuit by myself for something that the village made me do and pay for to improve Frankfort's infrastructure with the promise of a recapture. This whole issue was just reconfirmed in 2019 with the old staff, and now I have a lawsuit. This needs to be shared to show builders and developers to reevaluate trusting Frankfort in any new projects. Recapture is an issue, and we're in a lawsuit today. Secondly, it's completely unacceptable, unethical, and a complete abuse of power to just recently have the building department personally report my model home to the assessor's office and mention me by name to fully assess me for a new construction house that I just finished landscaping in August, and lying that I've denied access to the building department to prove that this building is unoccupied. Now, this home in question is my unoccupied model home for the subdivision, and it's open every single weekend, and not even complete enough to pass inspection or the occupancy requirements that I never applied for or doesn't have. When I informed you of this false allegation in writing a few weeks ago, I was ignored. But regardless, any builder knows that I'm allowed till December 31st, and we're here in November, to file unoccupied model home exemptions. But why single me out? Because the continued retaliation, what I believe, is because I've asked to be treated fairly, I'm pointing out issues of concern, safety, structural issues, etc., and doing my best to hold my subdivision and my homes to a higher standard of Frankfort once used to have, and to have other builders and contractors do the same. I'm almost done. Based on the current village actions in the past few years, it showed me that you have absolutely no interest in working with me together with quality builders and contractors who really want to improve Frankfort. And they need to go, the public needs to know that I've quality built homes all over. My trust in quality built homes is gone. I'm very proud of my subdivision. I'm proud of the homes I've built, and I hope that shows. I invite you to drive through my subdivision. I find it interesting that I just won best pond and best subdivision, and yet I get continuous inspectors showing up to my home uninvited that I don't know, walking into my garage yelling about weeds. So in conclusion, the first thing I need to happen is the continued harassment needs to stop, and the village needs to follow the rules they created and apply it to everyone consistently and honor the promises that it made to me and its residents. I also expect the village to start being involved in this lawsuit and share the effort and expense in defense, because in all reality, it wasn't my idea to build the road. It wasn't my idea to benefit other properties. It wasn't my idea to have this recapture. It was yours. Entertaining right now new development to the point of almost approving design and not informing me that this is going on as a co-defendant in a lawsuit for this property is unacceptable. Regardless, I'll see you next board meeting to share more details on what I believe as a community we are heading in the wrong direction. My name is TJ Marksali. I own TBL Construction. Candle Creek is my subdivision. I care about this village probably more than anybody, and I'm committed to build beautiful homes for this town. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, TJ. Who else would like to come before the board for a public comment?
Okay. All right, very good. Normally I get a very loud voice, so I have to be careful here. Good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing tonight? All right. Well, I'd like to also congratulate Sergeant Mizek on his promotion. Known him his entire career. We've been friends, colleagues, been on the Kiwanis Club together. Good guy. Great choice, Chief. Great choice. Also, speaking of Kiwanians, one of our fellow Kiwanians just passed away the other day, Bill Byrne. Great guy, great resident, great Kiwanian, did a lot for this village and just passed away suddenly. So, very sad situation there. I'm here tonight to talk about public safety. This is not new to me. I've been involved in public safety for the past 49 years. I think the only one who's been doing it longer is my old pal Dan Rossi over there, by maybe a couple of years, but been doing it for a long time. I appreciate Mayor, Chief, and we had Trustee Rossi that was here also on Thursday night. I see we don't have a lot of people like we had the past Thursday night. We had about 100 people, I think, here to talk about public safety, the incident that had happened in South Frankfort Saturday night. You know, certainly this is not the first large party in Frankfort that got out of hand, and certainly other towns have large parties that do get out of hand. It's going to happen. It's going to happen again. My concern as a public safety professional is that I feel very strongly that we did not have a system in place to make sure that our chief, our two deputy chiefs, our mayor, our board was notified in a timely manner and to get more reinforcements into my neighborhood to control this situation in a timely manner. More officers there is not going to create more chaos. More officers there is going to control that chaos and bring it under control in a timely manner. As a result of that incident, we had a near fatal crash at 116th Avenue in Laraway, where a young lady was ejected from her vehicle. I'm concerned with the amount of officers that we have in this town that I've lived in since 1974. When I came here in 1974, we had a lot of police officers. We only had 4,000 people. Now we're at almost 21,000. We had full-timers, part-timers, we had auxiliary officers at that time. A couple years ago, we had 35 officers in this department. Now we have 25. We have 2 that are going to be graduating from the academy, thank God. But we have neighboring towns with many more officers. New Lenox with 39, Mokina with 34. They're not having staffing issues. We've gone from 35 to 25. It's not good. This is a big town. It's a very big town. The South Zone is a large zone that covers in town, the industrial park, and where I live in South Frankfort. Unless that has changed, that was the South Zone. So I'm here to talk about public safety. I hope everybody becomes involved in it. I think we have to have a system in place. We have to have a plan in place. I'm not just talking as a resident. I'm talking as someone who's been in public service for 49 years, and I'm still on the job, still doing it. I've taught this stuff for many years. I've chaired these programs at a large community college in Illinois. So I know what I'm talking about. So I know that you're working on getting more officers. I'm behind you on that, 100%, to get more officers. I don't want to see my taxes go up for the schools, because we're paying a lot there. But for the village to get more police officers, I'm behind that 100%. A few years back, we increased our sales tax by 1% to go toward more police officers. I hope we're using that. I appreciate you getting these flock cameras in town. That was actually an idea that I pushed back in 2017, so I'm glad that we're getting them. We need more. We need these subdivisions to get more. My subdivision has to get those cameras on my end. So I appreciate all you're doing. I appreciate that you talk with us on Thursday. Like I said, we had 100 people here. We don't have that many here tonight. I think some of them are frustrated because they felt that, in part, the people that were here listened to them, but it got a little adversarial on both parts. There were some people that, on both sides, that got a little bit excited. But I think at the end of the day, most of us are residents in this town. The board is, the chief is, Rob is, others maybe also. We have a vested interest in our community, and we have to protect it. We got a lot of things happening. We got a lot of things happening around us. We don't want that stuff to come in here and cause more issues and problems. So we have to take care of it before it gets worse. I'm behind you 100%. There's not a police officer in this town that I don't know personally, and I don't call my friend. And I will do whatever I need to do to help out anybody achieve these processes that I'm talking about. I will volunteer my services, I will volunteer my expertise and my experience. I also have a master's degree in public administration. So I just wanted to talk to all of you. I wanted to thank you for everything that I know that you're going to do to keep us safe and protected. We don't want a bunch of vigilantes out there. That's going to create more problems for the chief. We don't want that. You know, we want to control these situations, but let me just finish with that. All the organizations that I've been involved in, I've been involved with many public safety organizations with high-ranking roles, is that when there is a significant incident, okay, my phone goes off and I'm notified right away. I want to make sure that that 911 center that we have right down the street on Laraway Road, when there's a significant incident, the officer in charge at that scene don't have to worry about notifying the 911 center. The 911 center has a protocol in place put forth by this village that they are going to notify the chief of police, the 2 deputies, and whoever else you feel is necessary. Now, if you want to respond out there, great. If you don't, you feel it's handled, that's fine. But you need to know that time, at that moment, to help make better decisions, and not the next day through an email. So, like I said, whatever I could do to help, I would be happy to volunteer my services, because you got to put your money where your mouth is. And I do appreciate every one of you. I know you all personally, so thank you again.
Thanks, Sam. Anyone else who would like to make a comment? Please come on up.
My name is Dave Wilbur. I'm a Frankfort resident and president of an HOA in the area. I also know and would like to comment on the same situation. And I'm not here to ask or resurrect history, but to ask, is there a plan being put together? Because obviously there was not one that would control that. And once there is a situation that exists, it's going to happen again. Our social media in this country and our young people have been taught by places like Chicago and so forth, Tinley Park, that this is fun. This is things that are going to get out of control. It's going to happen again. So I would be asking that just please make sure there is a plan. I don't know that you can have enough officers necessarily, but are there not cooperative situations where you can get help from associate, from Mokina and places like that? And at what point do you ask for state patrol help and that sort of thing? I have no public safety experience. I go totally the other way, but I do look for people to have a plan to keep our people, our kids, and our property safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Anyone else who would like to come speak before the board? Okay. Hearing no one further, can I get a motion to adjourn, please?
So moved. Second.
Motion by trustee Borelli, second by trustee Rossi. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.